Hi, my name is Fabio, and for this video, as you saw in the title, we're gonna have a conversation about depth. So I want to start this video by telling you something. Do not expect anything to come out of this video, okay? Do not expect a deep level of knowledge, and please, don't try to rediscover the wheel with this video, okay? The piece of knowledge I'm gonna give you is mainly about that. So, the title of this video, it's superficial to think life is only made of depth. Well, it's a little bit contradictory because as we live life and as we see in our day-to-day lives, things seem to be becoming a little bit more boring and a little bit more meaningless. Yes, I know that's true because I feel like that very often too. You know, the movies we see are often forgotten within a week, and that is especially true for songs. The songs we listen get old very quickly. So how can we deal with that feeling of shallowness in our day-to-day lives? So, what is really the superficial part of think that everything should be deep? Well, when we often try to search for depth in our day-to-day conversations, in our movies, in our ways of entertainment, what ends up happening is that we don't actually live through the moment. And what this living through the moment seems like, because you already know about this probably, if you are from this niche of the YouTube content, you already know about the importance of contemplation, the importance of not expecting a deep and profound knowledge about just seeing how things go. You already know the concept of it, but how does that apply in your life? So, Albert Camus, search about this guy, Albert Camus, especially his masterpiece called Nos. He talks a lot about the shallow, what we often see as shallow, but the simple moments of life, the simple happenings of life. For example, to watch a match of your team or to just play football with your friends, to see that blue, deep blue Mediterranean Ocean. That's the experiences that he talks about in his book. And what is the importance of those experiences? Those experiences are exactly what makes us alive. Not because they hold within themselves a meaning, because the meaning is right here in our brains, okay? The meaning is a subjective thing, not something that you should expect from things, from any tangible stuff. So, if they don't hold any value by themselves, why should I do it? Will I become happy doing them? Doing those simple activities? Well, that answer, Albert Camus also answer us that no, you're not going to become automatically happy by doing those things. But what you will become is alive, right? Well, that part of becoming alive is not something that he said, is more something that some philosophers, when they analyze his propositions, they conclude they end up in this conclusion, and that's some conclusion that I do agree, that those things are all part of the human experience. And by doing those simple activities and by not expecting anything by it, that's when the deep moments, the deep conversations, the deep and profound and meaningful moments become meaningful. It's specifically that contrast of simple activities and of not so simple activities that give that sweet taste of those meaningful moments. Okay? So for example, well, my demographic here on YouTube is yet to be formed because I'm really starting my YouTube content now, but I expect that most of my followers will be young adults, male young adults. So, if you are from 18 to 25, you've probably dealt with a lot of girls. Well, at least I hope so. That's me and that's my friends. As you are my friends, I hope you had the same experience. But if you haven't, just stay for a moment. Wait for the app playing, okay? Okay, as I said, what is the best thing on dating? I'll answer you. Is falling in love. And how is this falling in love part formed? Well, is when we compare the girls that we had a very shallow relationship where it was just a one night stand with a girl that we actually identify with some things. It starts with music. It always starts with music. You share one song that you love with that girl and she loves that song too. And then suddenly she is the girl of your life. Sometimes she quite isn't, but that feeling of identifying is especially sweeter when you dealt with other girls that you didn't identify. So yes, that contrast between shallow and between deep is what makes that melting pot and what makes that really delicious recipe of life. Right? Excuse me. So, again, as I said in the beginning of this video, you should not expect anything deep in life. It happens automatically. It happens spontaneously. You don't even expect it. So, practical advice is here. When you see a landscape, do not try to extract any knowledge from it. Do not try to extract any reflection from it. Just appreciate it. Appreciate it. Don't try to force those things because they don't happen. They don't happen in that way. They happen in a spontaneous way. Okay, they're not to be forced. And some other things that I want to talk about is about that social media shallowness. Okay, so that's a bad type of shallowness. Why is that? Because that's a shallow activity that doesn't even come from real human experience with people around you. You're just seeing images. So, for example, me right here. Again, I try to be your friend, but in the end of the day, you don't know me. You don't know any of my what's the word for it? Nuances. You don't know any of my nuances. You don't know me deeply. No homo. Pause. You don't know me. You just know the image. You just know the image, and you just know what I look like and how I talk in this video and those videos. But the problem in not living real life is that you are suffocating a deep part of human nature, which is socializing, right? So the difference between spending your afternoon playing football or soccer and spending your afternoon just scrolling through TikTok is that on TikTok, first, you're gonna be flooded with things that you don't like, because that's how the algorithm works. The algorithm will send you things that you dislike. Well, some will say that this is intentional, this is to provoke hatred towards some minorities, and some other people will just say that that's how the algorithm respond to those stimuli. For example, to stay longer in a video, to read the comments. Well, bad things, especially bad things, they grab our attention in a really strong way, right? So TikTok will often recommend you the shittiest of the content, okay? And that's the same for Instagram Reels or any scrolling platform. It's either gonna be AI bullshit content or just content that you dislike, things that you are not accustomed, or things that grab your attention. And the difference from that to spending time with your friends, skating, surfing, or just, having a drink. Even having a drink is a lot better than that. Okay, I'm gonna show you some. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Too much work. But as I said, those simple moments sometimes, not always, and you should never expect it to be always. Sometimes they will give you most of your lessons. Some deep lessons in your life will often come in the times that you least expect. And again, that sounds a little bit contradictory. Well, you told me that. You told me that I shouldn't be expecting, but yet you told me that you were gonna have most of your profound knowledge from that. Yes, that's exactly the point, to not expect things, to have just the simplest of the simplest conversation or activity without actually that becoming a compromise of that activity to give you knowledge, or to give you a deep reflection, or to just make you feel that type of euphoria that spirituality gives us, or just that drugs sometimes give you. Okay, if you are, especially if you are used, or if you have experienced some some altered states of consciousness, if you have experienced those, sometimes, not always, you might expect things in life to feel that way all the time. And I can guarantee you they're not gonna feel all the time like this, because happiness and satisfaction is not a steady way of thinking. Okay, our bodies, our minds, our spirits often, work in waves. So sometimes you're gonna be really high on that happiness and sometimes really low. And that's what makes happiness really great. That contrast again. So yes, my advice for you for this night, I'm gonna post this video somewhere around the noon of today. Today is 2025, I think it's 28, July 28th. So for today, you're gonna find a free PDF of that book that I told you. It's a collection of essays. Nous, N-O-C-E-S by Albert Camus. You're gonna start by reading any of those essays, any of your choice, and then tomorrow you're gonna apply. Okay, you have to apply, because often when we see YouTube content, especially these type of videos, we only like that piece of knowledge, we only like the entertainment from that, but we don't apply. And you actually need to apply, because that's how you're gonna feel alive. Okay, and again, if you don't feel alive, that's normal. If you just feel like you're doing some robotic thing, that's normal. Someday, maybe you will feel that feeling. And if you don't feel, I don't know, that's normal. Okay? Don't be disappointed. But if you want to have a romanticized version of your life, start by not putting effort on it. Okay? The romanticized aspect, when you feel like you actually mean something to the world, comes when you don't feel like you mean something to the world. You mean something only to yourselves. Okay? That's my last advice. So, I want to thank you for staying with me until the end of the video. I want to ask you to leave a like, to leave a comment here. Okay, share a story of yours. Okay, please share a story of yours, because I like to read comments. I often like to read comments, especially the comments of my own YouTube channel. Well, that would be so special to me. So please do this for me, and I'll do something for you eventually. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I hope that someday we can create like a really bonded community where we can actually talk to each other through Skype doesn't exist anymore, right? Through Discord calls, or just messages. Okay, however it's gonna be, someday we're gonna have that community. Why? Because I know we're gonna have it. Okay, I know we're gonna have it. I feel that in my heart. So again, leave a like, leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. Okay, see you soon. Thank you very much.